So we're going to move on then to the Phil tribe, who will always wear red. The first cast member from the Phil tribe is Lilly Petzold. I hope the last name is pronounced correctly. Based on Lily's application and kind of how she's always been a little slower getting back to me about things, I usually try and keep in touch with everybody about getting things in, making sure they're still excited to play. She's always like one of the ones who's like last getting back to me. So I was kind of like a little skeptical. Like, we're 3 days away from starting, and I was like, I told Morgan yesterday, I was like, I really hope she like shows up. And we got her intro video today, and I was like stoked after I saw her intro video. I was like, really, now I'm like much higher on her than I was before. I feel like she is Mackenzie, but less, wanting to be in control. And which is weird because Lily is in the book club that Mackenzie, I don't even know if they know each other personally because there's so many people in this book club, but like Lily is in that book club. I think Lily has a great shot at going deep in the game. She's likable, excited to play, seems like a people person. I just don't know if she can win the game. Well, and your strategy and that kind of stuff develops as the game goes on. I liked in her video that she said, like, I don't know how I'm going to play the game yet, which I think is the right mindset you need to have. They don't even know who they're playing with. They don't know these people at all. So like, I think Lily's strategy going in is a good one. So I'm excited to see her play.
Yeah, I think she's, again, one of those people that kind of checks all the boxes for me as far as having what it takes to win the game. I was really impressed with her video. I think she, again, is somebody who speaks well, somebody who's going to easily garner trust with other people. And like you mentioned with the book club, if there ever gets a point where Lily and Mackenzie are able to be on the same tribe, that's going to be a connection that when you're looking for something, that can be huge as far as we have this real life thing that connects us and we're going to work together now. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I have in my notes for her that, she doesn't know how she's going to play the game, but she does think she's going to be very social and thrive in that way. I said earlier that I thought Mackenzie makes Final Four. It's going to be one of the two of them. I feel like it's not going to be both, but one of the two of them is going to make Final Four. That's my prediction. I think she really has to prove herself in the challenges. She said she doesn't think she'll do well physically, but I'm curious to see how she does in other portions of challenges. Yeah, I think she goes far. She seems very likable. I think she's going to connect with the right people. And I believe it was her application, correct me if I'm wrong, that she said she can put an idea in someone's head and make them think it was their own. And that is huge in this game. So if she really has the ability to do that, that can play huge for her.
Yeah, and I think something with Lily as well is like, for challenges. Like, for challenges in these games, you don't, like, she says she's bad at them. Do not tell your tribe that you are bad at challenges. Like, you could be the best person at challenges, and because you said you're going to be bad, they're still going to think you suck. Like, I never said I was bad at anything or bad at everything. Like, I said I was bad at specific things. Like, I shouldn't be balancing cups. I'm never going to be good at that. But I'm not saying I'm going to suck at every challenge. Then your tribe will then think you suck at every challenge, regardless of how well you do. If you just suck and never advertise that you sucked, your tribe might not even think you sucked. So
True.
I think if she is able to, her and Mackenzie, we didn't bring this up for Mackenzie, and anybody that thinks they're going to be bad at challenges, just don't advertise it. Just, suck it up. You don't even know what the challenges are going to be. So how do you know you're going to be bad? But yeah, okay. Someone else.
No, I definitely think she's she's a contender to go far. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Lilly.
Her and Mackenzie can't advertise that relationship though, because these people really don't know each other. I mean, we know John and Lauren know each other. Austin knows of Lauren and of John. He's never spoken to them. Austin and another Castaway know each other, but like these people just can't advertise these relationships and make it known that they're, you know, close or know each other in real life. Because if these players are smart, like Andrew, Connor, just off the top of my head, those people aren't going to stick around and watch, you know, duos just run the game. So you'll find yourself out of the game quicker than you think if you advertise that you know somebody.
Yeah, and I know you guys like put a lot of consideration into breaking up the tribes and looking at who knows each other. But back to Mackenzie and Lilly, I really do think that both of them have the ability to make the merge. And if they do link up after a merge, they're going to be a dangerous duo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree, 100%.
All right, our next Phil tribe member is Victoria Fung. So Victoria, we, or at least I know briefly from, she joined our Survivor China rewatches, which happened so long ago, it feels like. But I feel like her and John, the first thing I have written down is that her and John are going to be a good battle on puzzles. Victoria's hobbies include, I think baking, doing puzzles. So like just things like that, like those, to me,
I
when
think she called herself a stereotypical nerd.
Yeah, so like you're gonna give a stereotypical nerd a puzzle, like she's gonna probably do well at it. So I'm interested and anxious to see those two and other puzzle people go at it, because I feel like this season and this cast is puzzle heavy and strategy heavy, which most orgs are, because you don't need big buff people or anything on these. So
yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the MTV cartoon with Daria.
Oh yeah.
That's who Victoria reminds me of. Like during her video, just the way she speaks and everything, she reminds me of Daria. She said that she's chaotic and a procrastinator. So, but she also practices yoga and Pilates. So I'm curious to see which side prevails. You know, if she can tap into the more calm yoga, then I think she'll do well. Because you really have to stay on top of your toes in these games too. She said she's very unorganized as well. And there's a lot of information that you have to keep organized. So I feel like if she's chaotic, unorganized, and just kind of all over the place, then she's not going to do well. But if she can kind of hone in, get organized, tap into that whole yoga life, she'll be good. I do think that she does really well in the challenges too. I have that in my notes. Yeah, I'm excited to see her play. I think she's different, and I love that about her.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch her play as well. I think she's very bright, very smart, will have good strategy. But one thing she did note is that she's very introverted. So I do wonder how she will manage those social bonds. You know, if her tribe loses the first challenge and she hasn't necessarily put in the time to like make a connection with somebody, again, she could possibly be somebody that gets voted out early on, because not necessarily because she of doing anything wrong, but if you don't have anybody that's willing to go to bat for you, then she might get cut early on.
Yeah, in order to build those social bonds too in these games, you need to be talking on the phone and on FaceTime or Zoom, because you really can't build a relationship over Messenger. And Denny and I, you know, that's how we built our relationship, and it was terrible. And Morgan and I talked on Zoom every day for like 3 weeks straight. So like, you just really need to like put yourself out there, go on Zoom, go FaceTime these people, like look at them in the eye and tell them things, earn their trust, try and figure out what they're thinking emotionally. You can tell if someone's lying over Zoom. I don't care what people say, you can. You can't tell if someone's lying over Messenger. You really can't. And that's why these, like, doing video conversations is so important. And I do hope Victoria is able to, like, find confidence in herself to become an extrovert, at least for this game. She can return to her very capable introverted self afterwards,
but she has put herself out there to apply for this game, which I think indicates that she does want to play. I also generally would view myself as like a reserved person, but when it's like a competition and they're like, you know, your pride is on the line with this game or what, even if it's just a dumb board game, like that's when like real things come out for me. So she could be like that, where it's like if she wants to win, she knows what it's going to take to win. But we'll just see what side comes out.
Even if she finds just a couple people to connect with, like deeply, and then those people have, you know, a couple more connections, she'll be okay. But yeah, that's watching her video. That's what I worried about for her, is the connections. Connections in this game are huge, because even if you don't do so well at challenges, I know we think she's going to, but if you didn't, it doesn't really matter as long as you have, you know, an alliance that you're working with. So I think that's key for her, is just, yeah, stepping outside of her comfort zone and just connecting with people.
I think one more thing, she views herself as an underdog. So I think that's like a really good mindset to have. She's not going to necessarily be somebody with a big ego that's trying to run things, and she could very easily just fly under the radar. She is going to have very just good strategic mind about the game, and a good, I'm thinking she's going to have a good pulse on what's going on and where people are going. So she can lean into that. I think she could potentially, you know, I think she could take it all. I don't think it's out of the question.
No.
And she said underdog who gets to the end. Mm-hmm. So she didn't just say underdog. She thinks she will get to the end. So I love that.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to root for an underdog.
Mm-hmm.
Including us. All right. Yes. Our next tribe member is almost 60-year-old Bill McGrath. So Bill is an org veteran. He is the oldest person on this cast. I think Bill is very charismatic. I think his age doesn't show with the way he can talk and relate to other people. He has played in some orgs, but they've just been, I don't think he mentioned any like virtual orgs that he's played in his video, just some like messenger orgs, which like don't even count in my opinion. Bill has a chance to win because, again, experience. I think he's going to use his age to an advantage. Like, oh, I'm just like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm 60 years old, blah, blah, blah.
What's this Zoom thing?
Yeah, like he's going to pretend he doesn't know what's going on. I think he's, you know, Jim Bunce 2.0 with strategy. And I don't see him getting singled out early on, but again, winning that first challenge, like not giving yourself the chance to be the easy vote is gonna be huge for Bill. So
yeah, I don't really have much to go on with Bill because his application was pretty like short and to the point, and I didn't get to see his video before we hopped on this call. So for me, I do think like he could be an early out because I don't know how he is with connecting with people. I know he's played games before, so at least he has some experience there. I just wonder how much he's going to have in common with everyone. His hobbies are raising his dog, competition reality TV, and family time. So obviously everyone in this group can connect on being Survivor fans. I just don't know what else he has that he can really vibe with people with. He said that he's hero-ish, which I do like. hero-ish. And he said he's brain because he's neither muscled nor pretty. So it shows me like, you know, he can be funny, and I feel like that'll work to his advantage. So I'm curious to see like if someone's willing to give him a shot. I think if he, you know, connects with the right people right off the bat, we could see him make the merge. But if he picks the wrong people, he's first or second out on his tribe, I think.
Yeah, he also mentioned that he wants to play, not float. So I don't necessarily see him taking a back seat in this game. I think early on he's really going to get after it and try to make some bonds. So I think he's gonna be on the fact that he knows he's the oldest. He has to put in the work to make those connections. But I think he's a little bit of a wild card.
Yeah,
he's one of my wild cards for sure. I had him ranked pretty high in his tribe, and you know, he could be ranked really high or really low based on what we have from him. So I don't know.
I think going back to what you said earlier, Ian, too, about people who play a lot of these games, they might be willing to make a big splashier move just because to them they're just playing another game. I think we could see him fall into that since he said, you know, he wants to play and not float. So yeah, I'm curious to see if he can like set up a good alliance and stick with them and not make like any crazy moves too early.
All right, Morgan, our next Phil tribe member is...
We have Alex Cousins, who is another player from Michigan. He is a student at Michigan State University. It's his first org experience. He is a musical theater major. And he's going to be a really big social player. I think he's going to rely heavily on his social game. But he also said he has knowledge of the survivor strategy. So we'll see how he plays.
Yeah, I watched Alex's video and was like, that's John Millsap, but, you know, 8 years younger. He has a list of movies, and I wrote theater kid, but I don't really like using that term. Will that be an advantage to him or a disadvantage that he's kind of like, I mean, those aren't things that like everybody does. So it's just, can he connect with people? You said he's going to be social. Is that going to, you know, he might try and be social. Is that going to work for him? I see him being too shy to make moves. I feel like he's going to be very soft-spoken. I don't think he can win. He has the chance to go far, as everyone does. But I feel like he might be the person who gets like taken advantage of a little bit. Like Andrew in our game literally just got hammered with votes all the time because people were like, oh, we can always vote out Andrew. And then, you know, he made it kind of far. He made it 8 votes without getting voted out. But I feel like that could be Alex. He might just sit back and other people are going to take control, and Alex will just kind of be the person in the background.
Yeah, I don't see him going far in the game. I don't know if he makes merge. Like he might go out right before the merge. He likes, acting, writing, singing, board games, strategy, stuff like that. I'm curious to see if he'll put like acting skills into work in the game. I always think that's interesting to see. He says he's a hero, probably. So you know that dude's a villain. Like he is 100% a villain, and I want to see that side come out. I really hope that he puts some of those acting skills in. I want to test those out, of course, but see if he puts those into play to pull off some blind sides. Like I want to see him play and have fun with it.
Yeah. I think if he's in the game long enough, you know, he's an undergrad student. And I think he's going to have some time to look for advantages. So I think if he's given enough time in the game, I think he's likely to find one. Him And Victoria, I forgot to mention that for her too. I feel like she can find advantages. Yeah, he's not a wild card for me. I see him going pre-merge, but I hope he proves me wrong.
And I did have in my notes, younger John David Milson.
That's so funny that you both said the same thing.
It's literally
totally.
it's literally him.
I think he's very charismatic though, and I mean, leading right into our next person, which is Will. He's also a college student. Like, I just think about things that, I mean, if you have something like that in common with somebody, you're similar in age, your life stage is the same, like that's something that you could really easily bond over and decide, you know, we're going to work together. Will seems a little more on the strategic side than Alex, so they might be a good balance for each other.
Yeah, so moving on to Will Fauntleroy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right too. Again, someone else that like I wasn't sure about, and then I loved his intro video. I thought his intro video was great. Him just like sitting there in his chair, like spinning around. It's just, I don't know. It's just like what we want. Like that's like what we look for when we were like casting for this, and we didn't have the videos pre-cast, but I feel that he's going to do well. I feel like he's going to mix in with the crowd early on pretty easily. He might be like, you know, I think he reminds me a lot of Jeremy, even though Will's more outspoken and more just animated than Jeremy is. But I feel like they have the same game strategy where Will, again, has played in some orgs, but they've all been over chat. So this is a whole new thing for him. I've never played in an org over chat, and I never will, but I assume that they are very different. I could see him making a big run. I didn't think that before today when he sent his video in, but I'm excited. Will's another one I'm really excited to see play.
Yeah, same for me. On paper, just reading his application, I was like I want to like this kid because he actually lives 30 minutes from me. I've probably seen him at Target where he works. So I was like, oh, I want to like this kid, but no, he's not going to do well. And then I saw his video and he completely changed my mind. He is very fun and goofy, like just playful. He's sitting in his chair. He talks with his hands a lot, plays with his hair a lot. Good. Like he's really good on camera. I think we're going to see a lot of fun confessionals from him. And I'm curious to see who he tries to align with. I'm excited about him. I think he goes top 5-4 at least. He could make the top 3 though. And then if he makes 3, he has a good chance to win, I think.
Yeah, I think so. One of the things he said in his video is that he really loves getting to know people and just loves like talking with people, which is such a big thing in a game like this, where if you're the person who's willing to put in the time to just like get to know somebody outside of the game, that can take you a lot farther than some people might realize.
Yeah, the fact that he said he likes calling people is huge because there are some people who will feel more comfortable connecting through Messenger, and then other people who are going to jump on the calls. The calls, like Ian said earlier, they're so much more valuable. Seeing the person that you're connecting with and really getting to know, their facial expressions. Ian says you can tell when someone's lying. I don't think you always can.
I mean, I'm just saying you can. Like, I'm not saying you can always tell. And if I did, I just misspoke. But yeah, it's so much easier to tell on a call.
No, it really is. It really is. And then you get to see like their habits and the way their facial expressions are when they say things. So further in the game, like it's going to help you to see that as well. But yeah, I think just the way he is in front of the camera, I think people are going to want to talk to him and are going to be drawn to him. So I think he does well. And for only 19 years old, I mean, yeah, again, on paper, was not excited about him, but seeing his video completely changed my mind. Very excited about this kid.
Yeah, Will, and one last thing I'll add before we move on. Will has always been like the person that he's messaged me the most by far out of like any of the castaways. Like he just seems like so excited, and that like I want him to do well because he clearly is excited for it. And
he's already building those social bonds with the hosts.
Yeah, with us. Yeah, we can't vote for him.
I love it.
Our next castaway on the Phil tribe is another returning player and a good friend of all three of ours, Miss Lauren Pratt. Out of the gate, I think all of us can agree she is by far the best all-around player on the cast. Very good with people, very good at challenges, knows her strategy. But then again, we've seen her compete just once really, and then she's hosted for the last 6 months. Will her 6 months hosting pay off? Has she pulled things from different people's games to add into hers? Because her first game wasn't a winning one, so she's definitely going to try and make this a winning game. I do think I could see Lauren at the end. I could also see her going out pre-merge because I think she could come on too strong. Her intro confessional, she came on too strong, even for me, and I know her already. So I was like, you don't have to say slit your throat so much, Lauren. She said it like 4 times in the first 60 seconds of the video. So yeah, those are my thoughts on our good friend Lauren.
Yeah, I think in her first game, she got burned because she was the loyal ally and was loyal to the end, and that's what got her voted out. She wasn't going to make that big move to flip on somebody she was close to. So I think she's not going to make that mistake again this game. And yeah, her intro confessional, she is like, she means business this time. We'll see how that actually translates to the game, because she is just so sweet, and we'll see what happens. But I agree, if she comes out like guns blazing the first couple rounds, it could be trouble for her.
Yeah, Lauren is one of my best friends, and I love the girl like more than I could ever explain. She's very, very good with people, really good with connecting with people. My concern is that people will know that she hosts games and that will automatically put a target on her back. So I hope it doesn't. If it doesn't, and she can kind of work her way into some alliances, I think she'll be good, because the way she is with people, I mean, you're drawn to her. She's very, very kind. Like this whole video she's sent in about slitting throats and all this, I don't believe it for a second. It's not Lauren. It's easy to say that coming into a game when you don't know anyone yet and you don't have connections. But once she builds up some emotional bonds, it's going to be really hard for her to cut people and blindside people like that. I do think that she needs to start her game off the way she played her previous game, which is loyalty. Like, just find your group of people, remain loyal to them, worry about slitting throats later. Like, because you don't want to seem shifty like that right off the bat. But I do think, like you said, Ian, like she's either one of the first few people out, or she can make it all the way to final 3. And she is so good at challenges and very stubborn. She is, if it's anything endurance, I mean, she is going to win. And her mind is always working overtime. So I think if anyone is going to find, a hidden immunity idol or an advantage in the game, it's likely going to be her. She is nonstop working, and she sleeps like 30 minutes a night. So
that's on a good night. Yeah.
Right. But I'm so happy she's playing, because she kept saying, "Oh, I'm retired from playing." And it's like, no, girl, you're playing. Also, she's going to kill me for saying this, but she is very single, looking to mingle. So If there's a single cute guy in this game, I mean, she's going to be all for working with him.
That's
All right,
hilarious.
Lauren, you heard it here first. If Lauren may not be single by the time you're seeing this, so you may have missed your chance.
I think she is willing to stir up a little chaos. Just some of the things that she's been asking me and Ian about. Is it okay if I do this? Kind of like causes our eyebrows to raise a little bit, where it's like, oh, what do you have planned for this? So I think she's gonna stir the pot a little bit. It'll be fun to watch it happen.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. All right, Greg Langstein is our next Phil Tribe member. I was pretty high on Greg after I saw his application. Denny, I think this is who you're referring to earlier in the assessment, but I was really high on Greg, and then I saw his video and I was like, he's too soft-spoken. I think he has a better head for the game on his shoulders than someone like Alex does. But I think Greg is really soft-spoken. I think he will either get taken advantage of, or, someone's always going to have a more vocalized strategy, which isn't the worst thing. But I feel like he might put his strategy away and he might not flip on them. He'll just stay loyal to the people he's loyal with and never turn on them and just let other people run the game, which is not how you win Survivor. But he is my biggest wild card. He could totally prove me wrong and he could win the game, but I don't know right now. I'm looking for Greg to surprise me a little bit.
So I disagree with you. He's definitely one of my top contenders to go all the way. I think that he is the right amount of soft-spoken. Like, he's not overbearing. He is just like a positive, fun-loving guy, but he said that he's good at convincing others to do things, and he's good at the social maneuvering where you can quietly convince other people of an idea without them knowing that you convinced them to follow your idea and let them think that it's their idea. So being soft-spoken and being under the radar can be a really good thing, and it will get him through the pre-merge. He said that he's self-aware, which is a huge thing in the game of Survivor, is to have self-awareness. And just the fact that he's saying that he's self-aware makes me feel like he is self-aware, because...
Is it self-aware to say you're self-aware?
I feel like it is.
I mean, it could be. You could not be self-aware, though. Therefore, you would not be self-aware.
I don't know. Now I'm getting confused.
It's late.
He said he's a huge Survivor fan. He's really competitive. So I really do think that he has a really good chance of making it far. I think his biggest hurdle will be when it gets to like 7, 6, 5, like if he's viewed as too much of a threat, he could be cut at that stage, like the middle merge.
Yeah, he's another like Jeremy for me. I feel like he could fall into that category where like very soft-spoken, like he may have done things earlier in the game, but do people know that he's done these things? Like Jeremy did a lot in our game and he did a lot in the mini, but like you didn't know that. You really didn't, unless you were behind the scenes or in an alliance with him like we were, Morgan. So
yeah, for me, Greg, on paper, I was like, this is my winner pick right off the bat. I'm calling it. He's going all the way and winning this thing. And much like Ian, I watched his video and I was like, wait, this is not the same guy, right? Like I must have clicked on the wrong video. And here's what I was thinking. Like I texted Ian and I was like, well, he was my winner pick, but now I'm not sure. But I got to thinking about it. You can be kind of awkward in like a confessional type video, but more personable and just at ease talking to people through a Zoom call. So maybe it was just his first confessional and he was just kind of, a little bit shy with it. Because on paper, I mean, he says he thrives off positive energy. He loves cheering people up. He uses positive reinforcement, and he, really talked up his social game and his personality. So maybe we just didn't see that in that initial video, and that is my hope, because I really think that, based on what he says on paper, he does have the ability to go all the way to the end and get the votes. I see what you're saying about the whole Jeremy thing. And I think Jeremy's downfall in our game was not making, a specific move quicker, like not jumping quicker. And he was just so loyal to you two that he didn't do it. But so that's what I'm curious with Greg, because he says that he has a villainous side. Like he says he's extremely competitive, falls on the more sneaky villainous side of the hero villain spectrum. So I'm curious to see that. I think if that is true and he does have that villainous side and uses that, then yeah, he can go all the way to the end.
Well, Ian is exhibit A of not being very exciting in confessionals. So
that's literally, when you were saying that, I was like, wow, she's just describing me right now.
Dude, that is so true.
Yeah. Our last castaway for Survivor Exile Island is another good friend of mine, Mike Simmons. Mike is a 24-year-old. Yeah, 24. He works at a healthcare company. He manages accounts and manages, honestly, I don't even know what he does. He just like passes drugs and makes sure they get to the right places. I think
he called himself a purchasing specialist.
Yeah.
And whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means. Mike is a new fan of Survivor, like very new. Accidentally put on an episode that when it got put on Netflix, and texted me midday and was like, hey, I've watched 6 episodes of the Survivor thing. I get it now. And has watched like 9 or 10 seasons. I think Mike is an all-around player, especially with people who don't know him. Like people like our friends and stuff, we might say he's like a schemer or something, but these people don't know that. And Mike's not like good friends with these people. So I think, he'll sit back. I've played on competitive video game teams, sports teams with Mike. He always sits back and wants to be the second in charge, because unless he's 100% sure something's going to happen, he is totally okay with sitting back, letting someone else do the work, but still understanding what work is being done. Like, I think that's one of the best roles to play in this game. Like letting someone get all the blood on their hands while you still called shots and just, we're sitting in the background, and the other tribe or the rest of your merged tribe is like, it's all their fault when really like you called the shots. I think he's also a coach. I don't think he mentioned that I don't know if he mentioned that in his application, but he's also a basketball coach. So I think that is another thing to add in along with Andrew. Like that helps, just knowing that you have patience to help people and things like that, and work with, well, for him, kids, and for Andrew, more young adults. But yeah, I look for Mike to go very far, and that would be true even if I wasn't a good friend of his. So
he says that he'll be friends with everyone. So he views himself as a hero, but he has the potential to play like the villain role and backstab people. So I always like to hear that, because I think that's fun to watch. He says he will bring good entertainment, which is good, and thinks his gameplay is going to be on point. So I think he's going to be fun to watch. I think he is going to fit in like right away. I think like I was thinking about you, Ian, where he's just going to stand out on that Zoom call as being like, more outspoken. And so that's the only thing, is like not putting a target on his back because he is outspoken. But I think he's going to click with people right away, which again is huge. I'm curious. I also think he's going to do well at challenges. So I don't really like have much to go off of with him, but he just seems like a people person. And is he single? Because no, sorry, Lauren.
Yeah, sorry, Lauren. No, he's not, and his girlfriend is another good friend of ours. So, for challenges, like I will say, playing on his teams and stuff all my life, like he is a hype man. Like he will hype you up constantly. Like if someone's struggling in a challenge, like he will be the first person to be like, come on, you got this. Frank was always that person for us. Like Frank and I weren't even close, and he would always do that, help me, help anyone really, just because, you want to win immunity. It doesn't matter if you're working together or not. No one wants to get voted out. So yeah, I think that's another good thing for him. I don't see a way that he gets voted out before merge.
I agree. I think just watching his video, just like you said, Denny, I think he just has this energy about him that will cause people to gravitate to him, and he will be able to be that person that everybody wants to be friends with, but not in a threatening way. Like you said, he doesn't necessarily need to be in charge of anything. He's going to be fine with just kind of like going along with the flow of things for a while. And he definitely has that likability factor. I think he will have the respect of a lot of the people on the cast, which is huge, especially if you get to the end. Like, if you're sitting at the end, you have to be somebody that the jury can look at and be like, yeah, I like this guy and I respect who he is, and he treated me well when we played the game. And I think that could be really good for him if he can make it to that point.
If him and Austin link up, they are definitely going to work together. They've known each other for as long as I've known Mike. Mike will be way more likely to vote out Austin than Austin would vote out Mike. So they're another like Lilly and Mackenzie thing. Like when they link up, they're gonna work together, but can they keep that on the down low? Because if someone finds out that, especially a perceptive person, if they find out, Austin's my brother and Mike's my close friend, they're going to know that they know each other. So it's just, they got to keep that kind of information to themselves.
Yeah, I think I feel like I could see a scenario where Mike doesn't want to reveal that he knows you or Austin, and Austin unknowingly reveals that information and just totally like sinks Mike's game, because then that's Mike being deceptive, right? Like withholding this big piece of information, this relationship that he has. So I could see something like that, unfortunately, happening.
And I don't know if Mike has thought of that. Like I talk to Mike every day. He asks me questions about this game constantly. So much stuff I've had to tell him I can't answer because I'm just leaving the integrity of the game full intact. I care more about that. I don't know if he's thought of that, like keeping our relationship hidden. Like the seasons of Survivor he's seen, I don't know if he's been able to like pull something like that where you have to keep those kind of relationships. I know he hasn't watched any of like the orgs because the first episode he decided to watch was the one I got booted in, so he stopped watching it. So yeah, I think he'll go far, but that's the big thing. That's the only way he gets voted out before merge, barring some like rock draw type deal. That's the only way he goes out, is that relationship.
His favorite player, he said, is JT. I know you said he didn't watch all the seasons, but JT on his winning season was so likable.
He's seen Tocantins and Heroes vs. Villains. I passed on like specific seasons for him to watch.
Yeah. So. I mean, if he plays a game like that, then
yeah, I mean, you can't lose.
He's golden.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have went through our 16 Castaways. We are each going to give our winner picks for the season. Again, this is based on a 12-question application and a video that's like a minute to 3 minutes long. So there isn't that much information to back up these statements or our picks, I guess. But Denny, since you're not hosting, let's put you on the spot first.
Oh, Jesus. You know that I'm still deciding this right now. As
Well,
we're
you gotta
sitting
decide
here.
right now.
All right. First, I want to say I got my top 5. Will Fauntleroy, Andrew Denson, Greg Langstein, I think it was, Lauren Pratt, and then Lilly Petzold, I think was her last name. That's my top 5 I'm sticking with. As for the winner, I'm going to go, like, do I go with my gut? See, I would pick Greg, but I really do view him as a Jeremy, and I don't think that he's going to get to the top. I don't know if you guys are doing final 2 or 3, but I don't think he's going to get to the final 2 or 3. I think he makes top 5. I'm going with Will Fauntleroy as my winner pick.
Just so you can go down to Target and be like, I won Survivor.
Nice.
I'm going to go give him a big
All right,
old
well,
hug.
Well, I will also give my top 5 contenders.
Yeah, now I'm trying to do that too. I'm pissed that I put you first because now I feel like I got to do that.
Well, I'm glad you did that, Denny, because I have a list and I haven't really made my decision yet, and so now it allows me to give myself more time.
Guessing.
Yeah. We definitely have some overlap. I have Lilly as a top contender, Andrew, Greg. I actually have John as a top contender, and I think Mike as well has a chance to pull it out. Before you started talking, Denny, I was also leaning towards Greg, but then I feel like you have me convinced that he's just gonna fall just short, I think. So I think I'm gonna go with Lilly. Lilly is my winner pick.
Okay, well, here's my in 30 seconds top 5. I also went with Lilly, who would have been in my bottom 5 pre-video today, by the way. Mike, Connor, Greg, and I'm going to stay a little biased and go with my brother Austin as well. It's Mike and Austin, or it's neither of them for me. I think if they can keep that on the down low, their relationship, if they get to this point, the final 5, and they have like their hands on one of those other 3 people, I mean, it's going to be those 2 in the final 2. So unless something crazy happens, so you picked Lilly and you picked, who did you pick, Denny? You picked Will?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was either Will or Connor for me for my other spot. I'm going to go with Mike. It was either Mike or Connor, but I'm going to go with Mike.
Cool.
Nice.
So
I think those are all solid picks.
But we are very excited. Morgan and I have been working on this for just about 5 months. Our Google
Basically, whenever we both got voted out of our season.
Our Google Docs started mid-October, and here we are, mid-March, finally ready to get this on the road. I keep opening our bedroom door every day and just yelling to my girlfriend that it's org week because I'm just super stoked to get this moving. But thanks for watching, and we will see you for episode 1.
Woo-hoo.